On the line with me now is Brian Flemming, and we are here to disseminate a little bit more information to you about the war on Easter as we sit in the battle room here in the last phases of the war. How's it going from your end over there today, Brian?
It is busy and exhausting. It feels like we're at war actually here. We are all just consumed with just dealing with all of the communications that are coming in. And of course, still dealing with the ongoing denial of service attack on waroneaster.org, which is technically ongoing. We just managed to defend ourselves from it, but we always have to do things to make sure that it doesn't succeed.
And basically what's happening there is people are, or some sort of computer whiz is attempting to shut our site down by DOS.
Yeah, this is a distributed denial of service attack, which means one person could have instigated it, but what's happening is that literally hundreds of machines, maybe more, have been instructed to try to access certain resources on the waroneaster.org site over and over and over, like several times a minute, each one of them several times a minute from different IP addresses all around the world. So you can't just ban one IP address because it's coming from everywhere. And they're using, apparently there's spyware that gets installed in PCs sometimes, and this spyware is actually just sits there as a sort of a Trojan horse, and these are called zombie machines, where if you want to, you can activate the spyware remotely if you're the one who installed it secretly, and you can make it try to do something like is going on right now with waroneaster.org. Just instruct it, hey, go to this URL and try to do such and such function and do it 10 times a minute. And so that's what a distributed denial of service attack is, or one kind of one. And what we have to do is look out for what resources it's trying to access, and then make sure those resources aren't even available to you for them to even access.
And that type of attack is illegal, correct?
Oh, it's very illegal. Yeah, it's very illegal, and we're talking with the FBI. The chances that we'll catch the person is it's very small. But the FBI is actually enjoying the information that we're providing, because usually distributed denial of service attacks are accompanied by a blackmail threat, where someone says, I am going to do a DDoS on your site unless you pay me X amount of dollars. Mm-hmm. And don't go to law enforcement or we'll destroy your site. So the FBI often knows that attacks are going on or attack threats are going on, but people don't contact them because there's a company, they're threatened not to. So we're in a situation where we can contact the FBI, and we're able to give them, our logs and share all sorts of information because we're not under a blackmail threat.
Right. What we're trying to do is plant DVDs and flyers of information pertaining to the myth of Jesus Christ in churches, and we're doing it completely legally with no violence.
Oh, most definitely. And in fact, without even disruption, the equivalent of what they're doing to us is if we sent operatives into churches to shout with megaphones all through Sunday morning services so that they couldn't have their services, and I would never be in support of doing something like that, of course, but that would be the equivalent. So there's really no moral equivalence between what we're doing, which is flyering, an old, American tradition, and, actually trying to stop somebody's from exercising their right to free speech.
No, but there is a fine line that you and I have been discussing that we're kind of concerned about, and I don't really know how we want to address it because, there might be some like littering worries in there. I mean, what do you think about that? Like if I, I'm going to go out to the store right now, I'm going to get 300 eggs if I can find them, however many eggs I can find. And we're going to stick little flyers in each egg. And I want to take them to churches Saturday night so that Sunday morning when people show up, there are Easter eggs all over the place. Even if there wasn't an Easter egg hunt planned, there's going to be one, Sunday morning. But do you think that's littering?
Yeah, I think the way to look at this, there's three categories of crime, and there's felony, misdemeanor, and infraction. And I think our policy should be don't even come close to committing an infraction. We should go that far in terms of staying within the law. And so as far as littering goes, I mean, I certainly know that if a Christian walks into some place like a Center for Inquiry and drops off some flyers and puts them among the literature the CFI has out there, that there's no way that person could be accused of littering. And in fact, CFI, wouldn't really care about that. So what we need to do is something analogous to that. We need to make sure that when we place our information, it's sitting among other information. In other words, we're placing information where somebody has already placed other information, and that can't really be considered littering because you don't have to go somewhere else and clean up trash. So putting Easter eggs among Easter eggs, I mean, people are going around leaving Easter eggs, and all we're doing is going there and leaving Easter eggs. Putting a DVD in a hymnal, well, there's already information sitting right there in the pew. That's where the church is keeping its information, and what we're doing is putting our information next to their information to try to, put some better information there. So always put your information where other information already is, I think, is a policy. And not everybody's done that so far, but I think it's a policy that we should probably start instituting.
Okay, so the folks that have been out there putting out Easter eggs, great job. But why don't we try to get those Easter eggs out in locations where there's already Easter egg hunts that are being set up? Probably we should restrict our resources to Sunday morning mass or Saturday afternoon mass. I mean, there's plenty of Easter services, so get inside a church. Done a lot outside the churches, but let's get inside now. Visit www.waroneaster.org and download some flyers. Learn how you can earn a free DVD by placing either your copy of the God Who Wasn't There DVD in a church, or in fact, Brian, can they burn copies of the DVD?
Yes, you can burn copies of the movie to distribute free like this.
So if you're not going to sell the DVD, you can burn copies of the DVD yourself. And what I suggest doing, if you do burn a copy of the DVD, is to write, instead of putting the God Who Wasn't There on the DVD, write something like the history of Christianity, or the greatest story about Jesus Christ ever told, or something along those lines that make it more palatable and desirable for the person who receives your gift to watch the DVD.
It's a good idea. Don't misrepresent it, but you write something that is what it is. Here's some information about the history of Christianity. I mean, there are all sorts of ways to describe the movie that isn't its confrontational title, The God Who Wasn't There.
Exactly. With that said, we will take a brief commercial break, and we will be right back with Brian Flemming, the creator of The God Who Wasn't There and founder of the War on Easter.
The Rational Response Squad has taught me that I don't have to say under God in school when I pledge to the flag. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. The Rational Response Squad can be found at www.rationalresponders.com. Check them out today.
Bowling for Columbine did it to the gun culture. Supersize Me did it to fast food. Now the God Who Wasn't There does it to religion. Holding modern Christianity up to a bright spotlight, this bold and often hilarious new film asks the questions few dare to ask. Your guide through the world of Christendom is former fundamentalist Brian Flemming, joined by such luminaries as Jesus Seminar fellow Robert Price, Professor Richard Dawkins, author Sam Harris, and historian Richard Carrier. See the movie the Los Angeles Times calls provocative, to put it mildly. Hold on to your faith. It's in for a bumpy ride. Purchase The God Who Wasn't There at www.rationalresponders.com. And we're back with Brian Flemming, the creator of The God Who Wasn't There. Brian, this War on Easter is a lot of fun, man. It's like an adrenaline rush out there.
Yeah, it is. It's fun doing these missions.
We should be sending you free DVDs, man. I mean, this is just great. I'm loving every moment of it. I'm eating this stuff up. So, in fact, you're flooded with battle reports right now. So you've suggested that people should send, if they're affiliated with the Rational Response Squad, they should send the reports to me. Is that correct?
Yeah. Or one of two things. One, if anybody listening there is doing a mission and you have a blog or a website and you have the capability to put up your own pictures in your report, please do that. And then we'll do it as a regular mission report on waroneaster.org on the front page, and we'll link to it. So, you'll get traffic from that as well, would be a benefit, but it would also really help because it's hard to process these things and find the time to just do everything we have to do and process the battle reports too. Fortunately, we just have too many, and that's a great problem to have.
Yeah, exactly. So then for the other users out there that don't have the ability to do that, and you're listening obviously to the Rational Response Squad right now, you know of us. If you'd like to be named as a Rational Response Squad operative, you want to help lighten the load on Brian a little bit, you can send the battle reports either directly to me at thesapient@comcast.net, or you can send them to Brian and mention that you want it forwarded to me, which is the address that's listed on the site if you missed my address. What was the other address, Brian, that you have at your site?
It's pictures at beyondbeliefmedia.com.
Okay, great. And then additionally, for people out there who are listening to this, maybe you're a Christian and you just happen to come upon this little show here. If you're appalled at what we're doing, if you're frustrated and angry by the fact that we would go out there and try to end myth and superstition, you could have your chance to speak to us live on internet radio. We will be hosting a show next week sometime, depending on when we recuperate from 2 hours of sleep a night. Sometime early next week, we will host a show in which we will allow people who are either appalled or just love what we're doing and want to get on the air with us for a quick comment or question, write to feedback@waroneaster.org, and we will consider your letter as an entry that you want to appear. With that said, folks, man your battle stations and, get out there and infect some truth. Brian, thanks so much for joining us. Do you have any closing comments?
Yeah, I just want to say one more time. Remember, don't break the law or even come close to committing an infraction. This whole war on Easter is really about the First Amendment. And the First Amendment says the government cannot interfere with people's right to practice religion, and it also can't interfere with the people's right to free speech and a free press. And we're really doing both of those together. They have the right to have their churches, but we also have the right to speak our minds. So make sure that when we arrive at this intersection of religion and free speech, that we do it within the realm of the First Amendment. We don't break the law. We just insist that they listen to us.
That's right. I mean, when you folks are out there and you get Christians, all kinds of wound up, we can defend you left and right if you haven't broken the law. We will be glad to. You tell us there's a message board where there's, thousands of people yelling at us at what we're doing, and you haven't done anything illegal. I'm there. I'm sending troops over there, to argue and rebut and refute all day long. But the minute you break the law, we're out of it. We've got nothing to do with it, folks. So, you're not part of our mission. This is a purely legal and nonviolent mission. And, we're doing this because we care about those out there. Once again, visit www.waroneaster.org, rationalresponders.com, or thegodmovie.com. Check us out. Get involved. Get off your ass. Do something to help out your fellow man. We will see you next time. Thanks a lot, Brian.
Goodbye.